Friends, it's time to go fast. My name is Steve. You've seen me before. And now I present to you the arcade jewel with some friends supporting me in the back, SegaSonic the Hedgehog. Are you all ready for a good time? Because I most certainly am. Joining me is S2. He's going to try and mostly run the show while I handle the main jazz. S2, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm S2.
And without further ado, S2, what character will I be in control of today?
I'll leave that one up to you. If I had my way, I'd probably ask you to play as Ray, so I'll just throw that into the ring, but I'll let you choose.
That's not a bad idea. All right. Well, don't mind first of all, pardon the beeping in the background, but second of all, let's get down to it. So time will begin once I select my character, and with that, let's put in a lot of virtual tokens right here. Keep in mind that I am emulating this on MAME because this is a Japanese exclusive arcade game, so it is very hard to find elsewhere. And also, pardon the Mario shirt. I was just seeing the Mario movie, believe it or not. So had I the time, I would have put on something a little more form-fitting, but alas, let's get down to it. And we will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, S2, take it away.
All right, yeah. So we've already seen a cutscene skip here. I'm pretty sure the only cutscene we get to skip in the game was that little tutorial that Steve just mashed over, and now Steve is going to be escaping this room with the bars. This game is pretty fast-paced, so it can be a little bit hard to really give a full explanation of what's happening, but I am going to try my best. So this game is isometric, kind of like Sonic 3D Blast or Sonic Labyrinth, which are a little bit more common than this game if you've played either of those. But this game was actually made for being played with a trackball, which is a little bit unorthodox. Doesn't really make sense with the Sonic series, but yeah, so you're going to be seeing Steve move a little bit weird here, and it's because the game it doesn't work quite right because it's supposed to be made for a trackball. So he's doing this little bit kind of stuttering thing while he runs in certain directions. That is just a normal way to move around in this game. So there's going to be 6 levels, 7 levels, 6 levels,
just about,
something
yeah.
like that. Your boy's not good at math.
When are we all?
Pretty fun little tidbit here. All of the levels, except for the final one, have alliteration in the names. So keep an eye out for those fun, quirky names. And Steve here, moving so fast as the speedrunner he is, pretty much already done with the first level. So yeah, we're already 1/6 of the way through the game. Game goes very fast. It's an arcade game, so not the biggest game.
This was definitely meant as sort of a quarter muncher, though, because if you're not too careful about the obstacles, it is very easy to die. So.
Oh yeah, you have to really know what you're doing to get through this game without using more than a few credits. Honestly, it's a tough game. It's short, but it is not easy. Let me say that. I do believe this was the first game that Sonic and the crew were voice acted in.
Yes, and Sonic himself here is actually not by Junichi Kanemaru, his longtime VA, but rather Takeshi Kusao, which you might recognize a little more for having provided the voice of future Trunks from the Dragon Ball series. So, yeah, and Kid Trunks as well later on, funnily enough. So, yeah. Not really much else to say aside from that, considering that I don't fully recognize Mighty and Ray's VAs, but I will say this: Ray does sound a little derpy in a way, not in an offensive manner, mind you, but more so that I think they made his voice sound way too deep or something like that, or like it's a person that tries to sound deep.
Yeah, they're very cartoony voice actors, which, it is a cartoony game, so I think it fits. Honestly, I very much enjoy the voice acting for this game, although it can get a little bit repetitive once you've done as many runs as I think me and Steve have. But no, it's good. I think it's a cute package overall of a game. The animations are very nice, in my opinion. I find them to be really enjoyable.
That Icy Isle done. Just a little bit more to go.
Yep.
And by a little bit, I mean we still got some minutes, but yeah, no, this game is pretty consistently fast. easily expect to at least beat it in under 20 minutes, no problem.
Oh,
Of course, one of the things you got to keep in mind is the obstacles that can impede your progress. But aside from that, this is consistently fast. If you want to get into Sonic speedrunning, I would almost say this is not a bad way to start it.
No, this is a solid game to begin with. Though it definitely does take some practice and it takes some getting used to the controls for sure. It isn't like the most complicated necessarily. This level is where it really starts to ramp up in difficulty, though. As you've seen, there are these pits that you can take deaths from. You can get extended death animations through certain errors, so this is actually the level where you can lose a lot of time with mistakes.
Antlion is just a big bully here.
Yeah, there's these little hills with rings that if you bump into, you can lose time, and there's all sorts of things just out to get you, so it's not easy for sure. On the topic of rings, Beat the Game isn't actually the only category that is speedrun. It is definitely the most popular category, but there is a second category, which is all bonuses. So as you might have seen at the end of each level, there's a little counter that counts the percentage of rings in the level that you've collected, and then shows a character's face. But there is a second category where people try to get at least 50% of the rings in each stage, which gets a bonus and makes the character give a happy face. So there are options for the speedrun as well. We're already about halfway through the game, finishing out Desert Dodge. And now we are coming up on a stage that has a pretty nifty trick at the end of it. I think if we get to show that off, that'll be one of the cool things that happens in this game.
I assume it has something to do with going up, just to make sure we're on the same page.
Yes. Perhaps,
Okay, good.
Perhaps might be a little bit elevation involved.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
First we have a pretty tricky level here. Actually, pretty recently, shout out to a few people, Spectral Platypus for discovering it, and Tough Cracker for making a task of this game recently. It has been discovered that there is an extremely specific trick. So far, it is TAS only still. We have not been able to work it into real-time runs, but you can skip a majority of this level now. So believe it or not, there actually are still speedrun innovations coming to this run. We are still finding out things somewhat frequently about the run.
I'm probably lost myself because I'm actually trying to figure it out. Hopefully I do it unconsciously. We'll see.
So now we've just got this little short section, and then there's going to be a big ladder with a lot of bombs on it. Now, if you hold directly to the right and go up, you can actually just go straight up through the bombs and not get caught by their explosion, which we're going to see Steve doing here. And it saves a ridiculous amount of time. I don't know how much, but it's multiple seconds for sure. It is a lot of time that you save there. So that is a huge skip for this level. And now we're going into Landslide Limbo, which is the only level in this game with a true boss fight. There is one other section you could technically consider a boss fight, but this is the boss fight of this game, is Landslide Limbo. And so we're gonna be seeing some actual action here in terms of fighting enemies. This game has got a boss.
So
once again, though, a little bit of level before we reach the action here, so just got to get through another platforming section here. There's some vines that we have to grab onto, which are really tricky to catch. Luckily, Steve got it on the first try.
Come on.
And then just clipped like right through the floor.
It wasn't even. He basically fell past the floor. That was it.
Yep. Getting on these little catapults.
Little silly things happen to me every once in a while, and that was one of them, yes.
Yep. You've taken the top route, which is the best route of the two. And then coming up to a hill climb here, where we will find the boss. Now, there is actually a glitch to skip this boss, but it is very precise. And the boss is only 10 hits, so you don't lose too much time by foregoing the skip. Though it can be tricky to get lined up with the boss, because as you're seeing here, it bumps you back, and you really only have such a small space where you can actually stand to hit the boss, so
come on, buddy.
It's a little bit tricky.
Come on, buddy.
There we go. Landing a few hits here.
Come on, just a couple
Like
more.
3
Yes,
more.
nice.
There you go, 1 more. Got
That
it.
wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad.
Yeah, you were able to take care of that pretty well.
All right, now for my I want to say it would have been my favorite level if not for the second half, but at least we're going to something that I do like to do.
I believe we may be on the same page here about this one too. But yes, this is Wild Waterway, a huge point of contention for new runners because, as Steve was saying, the second half of this level is a mess. But I'm gonna let you take a little bit here.
Actually, I don't even have to because here it comes.
And so I believe Steve is holding his breath here, which has become a marathon tradition started by me and other runner Hypnotics. Now, on most marathon runs of this game, the runner will try to hold their breath for as long as Sonic or whatever character you're playing as is underwater. It's a little bit of a lengthy section, but luckily you only have to hold down, down, and right here, and Sonic will just automatically pretty much walk along this wall until you get to a ladder that you climb out of here. It's long enough that it does take a little bit of lung capacity to hold your breath all the way through here. So good job to Steve on that one for making it all the way through there. You could clear this in real life.
I swear I almost failed that one, actually. That's not what usually happens. I'm pretty good at that. All right, now for my least favorite part of the stage, though, and the one that could easily cause the most time loss, assuming that things go as the level would try to make it. But, oh, that's actually pretty good for the first one so far.
That was really solid.
Wow.
So, as you'll see, Sonic likes to kind of stick to the edges of these platforms, which makes it just so annoying to get through. And when you respawn, sometimes he will respawn off the platform, too. Here we go. Now it might become a little bit tricky here, but actually making it through pretty solidly the first section, and not too badly here either.
It begins.
It's tricky for sure. Like this is probably the hardest part of the game to master, or at least like get a real feel for how you're supposed to do it. There's no great way to go about it, but we're done. Wild Water Ways cleared. That is an odd little typo there. Wild Water Ways. In other parts, it's called Wild Water Way. Sometimes there's an S, sometimes there's not. A little bit of trivia for you there. And now we're coming up on the last little section here. Eggman Tower is another crazy hard part of the game, but it's a bit shorter than some of the other levels, so that makes up for it, I suppose.
Now, just to clarify a few things, this is actually one of the very few games I actively run on a keyboard, which I'm much more used to the controller sort of spiel when it comes to any game that I play. But otherwise, when it comes down to the other stuff, well, games like this demand it because you got to be precise as possible. If not, then you're definitely going to run into all the wrong ways, and that's no good, as Sonic would like to say. But otherwise, I would also say we have 2 endings to this game, both of which are viable for the leaderboard under the same category, and how it goes is there is a good ending and a bad ending. At the point where we get to see Eggman himself, he's going to activate the self-destruct system to the tower. And I have a countdown, and I have that long to reach the exit, but if the countdown runs out, then it's still time. So we're gonna see how it all plays out, but if I do get to the exit, that will be time. So we're gonna hope that I get the good ending because I very much prefer that. But otherwise, yeah, this has been a pretty good run so far. I'm not sure if it's close to PBing. I'm not gonna get my hopes up though.
I'd be interested to see. I feel like you've been moving through the levels pretty swiftly, though.
All right, here we go. And as a little nod to Sonic 3D Blast, as I like to say, Eggman! All right, final stretch, folks. Here we go. It's the down climb and into the goal. We got 20 seconds. Can we make it? Here it goes. If I so much as slip up on this descent, though, then I might as well consider it a bad ending, because there's not a lot of leg room for error. Right,
yeah, and you actually have to take the corners a little wide, too.
And time.
There you go.
I forgot to stop the
game. Very well done.
Nice.
I thought that was an awesome run.
Heck yeah, very good showcase. All right, so let's just let's just take a quick look here and see what the final time is looking like on, or rather, whether I PB'd or not. Oh my gee, wait, what? Hang on, did I never get a better time than my 14-minute PB?
I don't know.
Oh gosh. Well, okay, in terms of leaderboard, that is technically PB qualifiable, but I'm not sure if it's
Congratulations.
Thank you. Wow. Let's go. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Congrats.
Holy jeez. That... Yeah, you do that, my dude. Holy jeez, that was... Okay, well, that was especially fun. But yeah. Oh, okay, let's... I don't need to keep this going for too long, so we're just gonna jump right to it. So, S2, where can these wonderful people find you?
Find me on twitch.tv/S2live. Where can they find you, Steve?
Twitch as TempestMask1000, also under that name for YouTube. And then I have a Twitter at TempestSteve, where I do post any streaming updates and whatnot, because I'm not a static streamer whatsoever. That in mind, this is indeed my last run for the No Kid Hungry program. Thank you to SpeedGaming for having me put in for like so many stuff. It's almost absurd, but I'm grateful to be able to showcase some of my favorite stuff in gaming in terms of going fast. And it was nice to close out this Sonic block, so we're gonna switch things up a little bit coming up here. I think I smell a task spot. We'll see. But for now, again, let's special thanks to SpeedGaming and everyone involved. And let's keep raising money for the kids. We still got time to close it out real strong. So until next time, friends and fellow gamers, ciao amici.